Now, I wasn't planning on making this video before last night. I was going to do like a Wembanyama sweepstake kind of video just before Christmas, but last night in the NBA was genuinely mental. It was probably one of the most I don't know how else to describe it other than mental. Like everybody was shooting like career highs, all that kind of good stuff. 14 games as well, so action was quick and fast. It never stopped stopping. So today on Beyond the Arc, I'm going to be reviewing everything that happened. Hopefully, if this goes out on Christmas Eve, then last night in the NBA. If I can't get it edited in time though, then it'll be coming out on Christmas Day. So happy Christmas if that is the case. If it isn't, still happy Christmas for the day after. But yeah, I mean, everybody turned up early for Christmas, and let's be honest, if the Christmas Day games are as entertaining as what happened last night, then we're gonna have a great Christmas. But before we get into literally everything that happened, make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube. Make sure that you're following all of the socials down below. There'll be plenty of new content coming in the new year. But yeah, I was gonna do like a shorts on stuff that happened last night, but after everything that happened, I wasn't able to put it into a 1 minute clip. So yeah, it's coming in a video. The Wembanyama video that I was thinking of making, I'll just do hopefully in the next few days once I get a bit of free time. Obviously, Christmas is very busy, so hopefully that'll be the case. Hopefully as well, the audio on my side should be good because last time out it wasn't great. So hopefully the audio will be good. Fingers crossed. If it isn't, then I do apologize, but I am like recording it through like two different things. So if one is bad, then the other should be good. But who knows what's going to happen. But Luka Doncic. Let's talk about Luka Doncic first. There's plenty of games that I want to talk about. Chicago did bits. The Nets are doing bits. But Luka Doncic hit is only his second career 50 piece, which you're a very good player when you're surprised that you've only scored 50 points in a game twice in your career, because you feel like Luka Doncic has been that kind of guy who has carried the side on offense ever since he came into the league 4 years ago. So I feel like he probably should have had a few more 50 pieces, but alas, it is only a second 50 piece against a pretty poor defensive guard side in the Houston Rockets. But then again, they only won by 6 last night against the Rockets, did the Mavs. And that's with Luka still hitting 50 points. It's looking a bit tough for Dallas. Christian Wood only put up 6 shots. I don't know what was up with that. You'd think he's like the main second option, so why isn't he making any more shots? Tim Hardaway shot like 15%. I always felt that when Tim Hardaway came back, Dallas would get that little boost, but they've kind of just been a bit of a middling team at the moment. A side that can beat anyone, but can also lose to anyone or can drop a game against anyone. They don't look as dominant as they did towards the back end of last season, especially in that Phoenix series. I don't really know what's going on. I mean, the West is so weirdly competitive in a way that people are dropping games left, right, and center. I'll talk about the East's, especially top 4 in the East, a little bit later on in the video, but when you look at the West, before last night's games, Utah, who were 8th, had the same amount of wins as Denver, who were 1st. And they were just further down on the amount of games that they lost. And that just shows how tight it is. You've got the Lakers, who were around about 7 games off the top seed, but they're 3rd bottom in the conference. So it is a bit strange in out west. A little string of victories can propel you all the way up to near the top. And, Dallas are probably the team that could do that, especially with Luka doing bits like he did yesterday. I mean, Luka's Luka. Like I've said that this is his MVP year, in my opinion. If he doesn't win MVP, then, I mean, to be fair, then Jason Tatum probably has won it. But they're probably the only 2 front runners, in my opinion. Luka Doncic, again, though, with the 50 piece, is absolutely mental. As for Houston, I mean, they're in tank mode. I was going to talk about them anyway, if I did a Wembanyama video or not. Jabari Smith, though, I said a few videos ago that he was having a pretty underwhelming season, especially as a top 3 pick in his draft class. But this draft class is proving to be a bit underrated, especially Jabari Smith as well. Like, he's coming back. Well, I say coming back. He's kind of starting to build a little bit of form. He got 24 points, 10 rebounds yesterday against, Christian Wood, who's by all intents and purposes not an awful defender. So yeah, he's starting to work it up, and also his defense is working a lot. A few nights ago he locked down Giannis. Yeah, I like Houston as a team. In my opinion, I feel like they have what it takes to beat some of the bigger teams, and they almost did it last night against Dallas. But Luka Magic was enough to stop it with only his second career 50 piece. It's not his career high though. A few career highs were scored. Sorry, last night. One being, I think RJ Barrett got a career high. Tyrese Halliburton definitely did, and who else did? I think Shea did as well. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did, which again, given how he's been playing, I'm surprised that he hasn't hit any higher than 44 up until today. But I guess we'll talk about that now. The Pelicans continue to be dominant. Although I say that, they did have to take OT against the Thunder to beat them. But without Zion still winning games, that's pretty big. As for the Thunder, it is just a shame that Shea doesn't really have much help, because if he had that one extra guy, maybe Chet is going to be that guy next season. Maybe Chet could have been that guy this season. This is a playing team, no two ways about it. Shea is next level. Like, if he doesn't get an All-Star starting appearance, if he doesn't get All NBA at the end of the season, then something's wrong, because it shouldn't matter how bad the team is, in my opinion, when you're putting up numbers like Shea is. Like, he's putting up MVP level numbers. If he played for a team near the top of any conference, then he's in MVP talks. But because he plays for the Thunder, alas, no MVP talks. But he's still having a great season. I don't know what new stuff there is to say about Shea. He's just that good. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to beat the Pelicans. CJ McCollum leading the side through. Trigger Trey Murphy, though, I think got about 25, which, again, when Zion isn't about, you're going to need players to step up in his absence. And I think the Pelicans, through no fault of their own, really, have one of the deepest rosters in the league. But nobody would have known about this if injuries didn't happen to a lot of their players. So it is nice to see them having a nice deep roster. And again, in the West, it's a little bit of a tough one. What isn't tough though is over out east, because let's be honest, the top four teams out east, I feel, can win a 7-game series against any team in this Western Conference, maybe except like Finals Warriors, because put Steph Curry on any team and he's gonna cook, isn't he? But like Boston, despite them having a little bit of a choking form, they're 5-5 over the last 10 games. They won yesterday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their offense was going for a bit of a slow patch. They were 30th in offensive rating over the last few games, but after last night, they can't be 30th anymore, surely. Jaylen Brown scored as many points in the fourth quarter as the whole Minnesota Timberwolves team did in the whole fourth. So, yeah, so that should be a start of Boston's kind of like crawling back up towards the start of the new year. They're still top of the conference, because Milwaukee are going through a bit of a rough patch as well. A 2-game losing streak, including a loss last night against the Brooklyn Nets in a bit of a blowout. They lost by 18. This Brooklyn Nets team, I'm telling you, all of the media coverage was when it was all going wrong for them, when KD wanted out, when they were losing games, and now they've won 12 out of 13. Nothing's really been said about this Nets side. I said at the start of the season that they would finish top in out east, and I got mocked for it. It's not looking too unlikely now, though, is it? Like, who's laughing now is what I'm asking. And then obviously, you've got Philly, who who won yesterday, and Cleveland, who lost against the Raptors yesterday. But this Cleveland side's looking dangerous as well, with Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland in there. I want to talk a bit more about the Milwaukee Bucks game though. The Brooklyn Nets, like the whole starting five were in double-digit points. Nicholas Claxton had 19, I think, and about 8 rebounds and 5 assists. It was a very productive game for Nicholas Claxton. I'm a big fan of Claxton. I feel like he is a bit on and off, but I feel like when he's on, he can be a center that, he can be a sufficient center for what the Nets need. You know, they don't need an all-star at center, but they need someone who can lock things down, and Claxton can do that, in my opinion. Since Kyrie's come back, this team has been different, though, and as much as I don't condone what Kyrie said, do I feel like he should be back in the league? I don't know. Um, him coming back has made this team absolutely mental. Ben Simmons is still putting up decent amount of points, and then Kevin Durant is just Kevin Durant. I feel like this guy won't stop just being an absolute sniper. Like, the guy is mental, and even with Giannis, doing Giannis things, but Milwaukee still lost. Just like they lost the other night against Cleveland, despite Giannis having 44. Is this? I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at this top four and I'm thinking, out of all of these teams, Milwaukee look the least likely to get into the NBA Finals. Out east, it's not looking as likely for them. It does just look like the teams around them have more all-round teams, or they have like two stars in Philly's case. I don't think Philly have a better all-round team than Milwaukee, but Embiid and Harden are just that good. You know, so I don't know. What do you guys think about Milwaukee? Let me know in the comments. Philly, though, they had an absolutely mental game yesterday, coming from behind against the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard is back playing decent minutes, which is always a good thing if you're a Clipper fan. But I don't know if Clipper fans are looking at that being like, yeah, but it's not that long before he starts to load manage again, and then we don't see him for another month. But Paul George is back as well. Them two hit 20 pieces yesterday, but they did end up blowing the lead against the Sixers. Embiid with a 44 piece, and James Harden tying the assist record in Philadelphia history. And this Philly franchise had Wilt Chamberlain in it. So if you can tie anything that Wilt Chamberlain did, even if it's just one game, then that's mental. But 21 assists. What? 21 assists as well as 20 points? That's crazy. That's a career high for James Harden. Of course it is. But yeah, James Harden's looking, not in sense of the scoring aspect, but he's looking like almost MVP level self. He's not being trusted to lead the scoring, but he is one of the best facilitators in the league. He got them 21 assists on 3 turnovers. So that's 7 assists per turnover, which for any point guard is great. That's like Tyrese Halliburton level numbers, and we know how good he is at facilitating the floor. This James Harden, if he can carry this on throughout the rest of the season and into the playoffs, could this be Philly's year potentially? It's so stacked out east though, like anything can really happen. You've got them top. I was talking about them top 4, but you also have the likes of New York, who are on a bit of a slant after winning 8 straight. Indiana are still hanging around there. So are Atlanta. So are Toronto. Miami are a little bit shaky, and then you've got even the sides like Chicago, not even in a playing spot. Who, well, recently have actually been on it. We made a video not like literally 2 days ago saying that they weren't doing well. We might need to blow it up. But since the little scuffle at halftime in the Minnesota Timberwolves game, ever since that game where they dropped 150 on the Bulls, they've won 3 straight against competent opposition as well. They beat the Hawks, they beat the Knicks last night, and they beat the Heat not too long ago as well. So that's 3 straight for the Bulls, including 2 straight game winners. Last season the Bulls, DeMar DeRozan hit 2 straight game winners, and everyone went mental. It was around about this time last year as well. It was one on New Year's Eve and then one on New Year's Day. He hit the last game winner and then the first game winner of each respective year. But the Bulls have had 2 game winners yet again. It wasn't a buzzer beater last night by DeMar, although he was 0.4 seconds off it. But the night before, was it the night before? Or it might have been the night... No, it was a couple nights ago. The Atlanta game where the Bulls were in control, then let it slip, and then pulled it back with that Ayo Dosunmu game winner. And then last night, despite RJ Barrett becoming, I think, the first Knick to have a 40-point game and go 100% from deep, he shot 6 of 6 from 3-point range. I think he is the first Nick to ever do that. So big up to RJ Barrett. He had a great game. Unfortunately, nobody else really did on the Knicks. Randall put up decent points, but I mean, they did let themselves down. 15 for 26 from the free throw line at home is like that. That's unheard of. That's really bad. So, of course they lost. I mean, Jalen Brunson is probably one of the best free throw shooters in the league, and he missed both of them in the clutch, which led to DeMar's game winner. But yeah, I mean, Zach LaVine, he's putting up actual all-star numbers in the last 3 games. I think he's putting up close to 30 points in the last 3 games. He hit 33 last night against the Knicks. So maybe since Zach was called out by his teammates, he's finally got a chip on his shoulder. He's not just taking the bag and going home now and, living the rest of his life as a decent but not as good as he used to be basketball player. He's finally coming back and hitting decent shots, having decent numbers. So I'm all for it as a Bulls fan. Although knowing us, we are going to lose against the Rockets on Boxing Day because, of course, we beat 3 teams who are above us and then mess up. Equally, trust Toronto to get back into winning ways as soon as we do, so we're still not in the play-in. So who knows? But I think the Bulls are around about 3 games back from New York in 6th now. So if they can keep that going, I think a lot of people underestimate how not easy, but definitely not hard the Bulls' remaining fixtures are throughout the rest of the season. I think they're like 3rd in a fixture difficulty rate, like bottom 3 in fixture difficulty rating from now until the end of the season. So, last season the Bulls profited off of beating poor teams but couldn't beat any of the good teams. So maybe if the Bulls can keep that going, they can maybe push into the playoffs. But as a Bulls fan, at the moment, if we can just get in the play-in before the new year, that'd be quite nice. But like I said, we will probably just lose to the Rockets. Let's be honest with you. LaMelo Ball is back for the Charlotte Hornets. And I say back, he's been back for about a week and a half. And the Hornets have looked better with him, but they've also been losing at times with him, which, as a Hornets fan, must be pretty promising because, I'm personally thinking it's a bit of a spoiler for when I do my Wembanyama video. I think Wembanyama at the Hornets is probably the best fit in terms of propelling the team to the next level. LaMelo and Wembanyama, that's a great duo, in my opinion. And then you have like the likes of Terry Rozier and Kelly Oubre as well. But I digress. Ball's coming in. He got a triple-double the other night. He hit 23, 8, and 8 last night in a very close win against the Lakers. A bit of a shootout. It finished 134, 130 in regulation. LeBron's shoe ended up being against him for the game winner. I don't really know how that managed to happen, but maybe next time LeBron will learn to tie his shoes properly before he tries to go and score like a big tying shot. And let's be honest, as much as it was a bit sad to see, it was quite funny watching him just sat on the floor, head in hands, looking a bit depressed after he lost possession, and the Hornets grabbed the rebound. Ultimately, the Lakers lose again though. We thought that they were on a bit of a rise, but they've started to plummet again. And with AD out indefinitely, with a foot injury, it's not looking good for the Lakers. I feel like LeBron, as much as what he does do, he is turning 38 in a few weeks. So it's not looking too good for the Lakers. As much as Russ is having a decent year off the bench, AD is really the X factor in that team, and without AD, it's not looking too good, in my opinion, for the Lakers. The third bottom, like I said, in the conference, they're not really committing to the tank because they don't have their pick, but I don't think they have what it takes to even make the play-in next year. So all looking good for the Pelicans. They're probably going to have a lottery pick next year, despite doing well for the first time in forever. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen if the Lakers are going to blow it up? I don't think they will. But equally, who knows? Anything can happen in the NBA. Just like, this is the final thing I'm going to talk about, Tyrese Halliburton bouncing back from a 1-point game last time he played the Miami Heat to a 43-point game this time he played the Miami Heat. It's crazy how the NBA works sometimes, isn't it? But yeah, Tyrese Halliburton with a career-high 43 points, including a big game-winning 3 at the end against the Heat. The Heat continue to struggle. Well, I say struggle. They're just being very inconsistent. They're eighth in the conference at the moment, I think, or ninth. Um, but yeah, I think they're on like a 16-17 record. They're just very average, and maybe they need to be blowing it up at some point. I'm pretty sure I've said in the past, the Miami Heat are that team that never really go through a rebuild, but maybe it's time now. Jimmy Butler's not getting any younger. Bam Adebayo is never really that number one option that they need. Neither's Tyler Hero. Maybe it's time for them to do a few trades to sell at the deadline. But I guess, between now and February, things might change. They might hit a decent run of form. They have the players that can do it, but losing every now and then against teams that they should beat at home against an Indiana side. Should they be winning? Yeah, yeah, they should. But big up Tyrese Halliburton, a 43-point game. Indiana, they're never going away, are they? We thought that they might have had a bit of a downward spiral, but they're still picking up wins here and there, which is putting them in playoff contention. If Indiana get in the playoffs this year, this is going to be a huge wasted year in my opinion, because they're not going to be as good as what they were next season. Like, Tyrese is still doing bits, but I don't see anyone on that team that is going to make a step up next year. So I do think that they need to tank for Chicago's sake so they can get in the playoffs, please. But yeah, I mean, the still credit to him and credit to Halliburton. He really is that guy, and I hope he does get in the All-Star game, in my opinion. But I guess that will conclude my wrap up of yesterday's games. I think I've covered everything I want to cover. Again, probably one of the most mental days in NBA history. A load of career highs being put up, whether it was in scoring, in assisting, records being broken by RJ Barrett and the like. I feel like this day could go down in history as one of the most exciting, interesting games in NBA history. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And also let me know how excited you are for Christmas Day games. I'm not as excited. The Bulls haven't had a Christmas Day game in God knows how long, but the way that we're playing, I'm not surprised. Although I thought we could have got one after last year, but who knows what's going to happen. Christmas Day games are always mental, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. It's a shame that Steph Curry ain't going to be there though. I feel like the Warriors Grizzlies matchup was kind of just built off of that, but who knows what's going to happen for Christmas Day. I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about last night's games in the comments, and also let me know what content you guys want to see in the new year when that comes. But I digress. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you're leaving a like, subscribe to the channel, follow all of the socials down in the description. Make sure that you are following us on all podcast platforms. That's where the podcasts get posted as well as on YouTube, so make sure you're following them too. Share out the videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good Christmas. Goodbye.